Alright guys, I think it's time to break down another VGC World Champion. Let's talk about Aaron Cybertron Zheng and his team, the Melbourne Rotoms. Here we go. Alright guys, here is Aaron Zheng's team, the Melbourne Rotoms. You can see them off on the left side. Let's start out with the gears as per usual. The main two gears I'm seeing here is a off-brand Trick Room, but not much to really back it up, and Tailwind Whimsicott. Tailwind Whimsicott is fantastic for this team. A lot of these Pokemon are just on the lower side of the speed tiers, where that Tailwind priority will immediately bring things like Excadrill and Primarina, and even Gigalith in some regard, up to the top. Yes, I know I said Gigalith, it's really Gigalith, but go watch Wolfie's content, you'll know why. But primarily Whimsicott tailwinding, being able to get the speed tier up, the other Pokemon speed tiers down with Stun Spores, and its Moonblast. I mean, there's so much potential with Whimsicott on this team, across the board. We also have secondary tailwind with Sigoleth, and even on Pheasant here, but I don't see any reason for them to really come over Whimsicott. As I mentioned as well, off-brand Trick Room, we've got Dwos and we got Bronzor for this. I don't really see any reason to really set up Trick Room for this team beyond Gigalith, and I just don't. Like, there's really nothing else in this team besides Gigalith that actually comes in and does damage under Trick Room. Maybe they're just to be reverse Trick Room sets just in case, but I really think out of all the off-brands, you didn't really pick up anything of worth. Alright, let's take some time, do some Poke highlights, and highlight the team. First off, we have Gmax Toxicity. Toxicity, an interesting Pokemon to bring as your Gigantamaxer. Obviously, its signature move, either dropping a poison or a paralysis status effect, it could potentially be really strong, but its heavy weakness to ground type moves might be problematic here. There are ways around this, but I can't necessarily say I see him bringing the Gmax Toxicity too often in his games. Obviously, it also has great potential with Throat Spray, Overdrive, Boom Burst. It's all of its signature moves based on sound and its ability Punk Rock. We already talked about it a little bit, but Whimsicott, next up on the line here. Big Tailwind setter, it gets fake tiers, sunny day, it can change weather, it can change stats, it can get your speed stat going up. It has so much supportive capability on this team. I can potentially see Whimsicott coming every week as a staple for the Rotoms this season. Next up, we've got Tourcat. Again, we're going to call him the off-branded Incineroar or Incineroar Light. He's a pretty bulky boy still Intimidate user, still has all the potential of Darkest Lariat, Flare Blitz, etc. Fake out user as well, you can clap them cheeks still, but a lot of the time I'm thinking that if he's going to be bringing Tourcat, it's going to be purely to lead off, get that Intimidate, and then get the hell out of dodge for something else better to come in. Our big old slow boy here with Gigalith. We've got a very strong under Trick Room monster, very good in its Dynamax form, stacking its defense and special defensive stats. Also, super useful in the sand as well. I don't see this coming too often unless he's facing off against Trick Room teams and knows he doesn't want to deal with speed control. This is what I will call weird pick number 1 for Aaron. Picking up the Sigoleth, I mean, it has some potential. It's got Magic Guard or Wonder Skin as its abilities, super useful abilities. It can run Tailwind, it can run Gravity, it can run Psycho Shift and a couple of other moves as well that could provide some potential for this team, but I really think this was just in case I didn't get my first option of Whimsicott, Tailwind support. Next up, we have Dwos here. Obviously, the pre-evolution of Reuniclus. I don't know why this was really drafted beyond being a reverse Trick Room potential user here. It can set up Trick Room, it can set up Calm Minds, it can get some stored powers off. Expanding Force is also potential on it, but it's really just kind of a weird pick for this team, unless it's just going to be reverse Trick Rooming for Aaron the entire time. I don't see this coming too often. I can see the need for it in reverse Trick Room, but I don't see the constant bring of this Pokemon here. Next up, we have on Pheasant, yet another weird pick for the Melbourne Rotoms here. Another Tailwind user, physically offensive, flying type Pokemon. It does bring potential to the team, but I don't think this was the best choice if you were looking for flying type coverage. Followed shortly by why did you pick up Sigoleth as well. But both of these are just kind of weak picks for this team. I know we're in the lower tiers, so you're not going to be expecting anything too great, but even some of the other Pokemon that are in the lower tiers might have been better pickups to round out this team. Unlike some of the previous pickups, the first free pick for the Melbourne Rotoms in Excadrill, super strong. The combination of Excadrill Wimsicott has won many a VGC ladder rank game, and by far is one of the strongest leadoffs that I've seen for VGC competitive matches. Super strong Dynamaxer, super strong with Focus Sash, getting those rock slides, the Earthquake, high horsepower, the Iron Head. I mean, it is a standard competitive Pokemon, and it is super strong across the board. Next up, we have Primarina. Its signature ability, Liquid Voice, here coming in major play for this team, changing all those big moves like Boom Burst and Hyper Voice into water-type moves. Super strong special attacker, should bring the potential to cover out a lot of this team's original weaknesses on the top half. Another interesting coverage Pokemon in Glaceon. I see this potentially being a good support Pokemon with Icy Wind, maybe running Blizzard as well. I don't really know how it necessarily meshes in with the team, but I'm sure there's some potential here with the Whimsicott and the Tourcat that I'm just not seeing. Finally, rounding out the team, we have our good green boy here, Bronzor. We've pretty much talked about Bronzong from A-Drive's draft pick, so if you're really looking for details there, I would suggest go take a look at that video. But overall, strong with Heat Proof, strong with Levitate as well, good reverse Trick Room potential here. But again, between this and Dwos, I'm not really sure why he's picking up these Pokemon unless he's just using them to click Reverse Trick Room once or twice. Following up with that, we have the leads. There are essentially two sets of leads here that I'm seeing. Most of them are around our lovely boy Whimsicott right here, in that anything that comes in with Whimsy gets tailwinded immediately, can go for that Dynamax, even that Gigantamax, and really just immediately start hitting anything in the opposite side before they can get a move off. Speed control here on the faster side, very important for the Melbourne Rotoms, and very much able to get attacks off before Trick Room would be set. Secondly, for the Melbourne Rotoms, I would see the potential leadoff of Tourcat and another offensive Pokemon, in that getting that Intimidate off might be important to cut the attack stats if we're not worrying about speed. Talking about gaps are pretty small on this team. It's a bit of an odd 2-speed team in that we've either got some potential in Trick Room and some potential on the fast side, but I really see the staples for this team coming every week is going to be Whimsicott, Excadrill, Primarina. It's just the question of what that fourth slot's going to be and what other two Pokemon might come into that 6 comp to try and fake out the opponent. Finally, wrapping it up, our match to see, I'm going to give this time to K-Cray and the LA Spice. I definitely think Aaron's going to have a bit of a struggle making sure that he can stay in front of the Chlorophyll Venusaur and Ninetales coming out front for that team. The G-Max Vinelash is going to be huge, and he's going to have to play very carefully with Whimsicott and probably maybe even an Pheasant lead there to try and sort of outsmart the LA Spice. There you guys have it. We are 2 of the world champions in the WBE into this draft league pick, and I'm thinking they're going to be strong contenders. Definitely some transactional things I think will go on with Aaron's team as well as the league goes on, but I think overall he's got a good start and potentially going to be coming in for a hot finish towards the end. Make sure you click that subscribe button up here and checking out all of our other WBE coverage content, and then go check out Aaron's team breakdown right over here. That way you get all the action from his side as well. We'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.